Yo guys, welcome to my first video on the FerrisSZN React channel. You guys have been suggesting this all over the place on my TikTok, which I live stream on, by the way, FerrisSZN, link will be in below. You guys have been begging for a react channel, saying I need to do one, so this is our very first video. We're going to be branching out a little bit. We're going to do Fortnite videos we're going to be reacting to, all the way from, I don't know, whatever you guys suggest in the comments and on TikTok. So let's jump right into it. First, we got our video about what Peterbot has been up to lately. Let's get it.
For the last 2 years, Fortnite has been dominated by one name.
Peterbot.
Ritual Cold.
You guys know how much I glaze Peterbot. You know I love him so much.
Reclaims his title.
I love Peter. People know that.
Set here, NNA from Peterbot and Pollo, baby.
However, as some of you may know, Peterbot has recently fallen into some controversy that could potentially get him banned from the biggest tournament of the year.
Chat, I'm not gonna talk about that situation, but just know I did give my 2 cents on it. Being a huge Peterbot fanboy, people that have been in my streams on TikTok and on Twitter know my stance on that.
So today, I'm going to break down what happens to Peterbot's trio if he gets banned, and who I think has the best chance of taking home the FNCS Global Championship Trophy. Peterbot, along with his trio Cold and Ritual, have absolutely destroyed the competition this year, getting second place.
At the second place, I genuinely think Cold and Ritual sold. I mean, obviously Peterbot had the best stats out of any grand finals of all time in this grands, and he still didn't win it. But Cold did redeem himself. The grands before globals, where he 1v3'd and all that, and then Ritual has just gotten so much better this year. I'm so proud of him.
In Major 1, first place in Major 2, and first place once again just a few days ago in Major 3.
He has to see the side shot come through, and
this was so crazy. I was watching this, chat. I was watching this with my friends in Discord, and I was screaming. I was on my chair, jumping up and down, screaming. I can't believe it that they won. It was huge. The entire tournament was amazing. I loved it so much.
But recently, a video of Peterbot got leaked from a couple years back where he was saying some pretty inappropriate things. I'm not going to go into the details of the video because honestly, I don't want this to be a drama channel.
It was crazy.
I'm only bringing this up to give you guys
that was just crazy how it was leaked like a couple days after he won grands.
Since this happened, the internet is kind of
I think it was Asian rap.
And there's one specific question the Fortnite community
has
been
bogus,
asking.
but whatever.
Will Peter be banned from globals? Obviously, it wasn't a good look for him, but at the same time, this was a few years ago, and he was a kid, so if he's really grown up and
he won't be banned. He won't be banned.
He'll play. That being said, it's not really my decision or yours. It's really up to Epic Games.
Still
and the
not
Fortnite
permitted.
overlords.
Like you should never have
and
said
if
that.
for some reason they do decide that what he did was bad enough to be banned, we would have one of the first Peterbot-less lands in 3 years. So what exactly would that
That'd be
look
crazy.
like?
I hope he
Well,
wins,
first of all, Cold and Ritual would now be down a member of their trio. And I went through all of the official FNCS 2025 rules to see what would happen if Peterbot was disqualified.
There's no way he can't be disqualified for a single word that
rules for what would
he wasn't even playing the game when he said
far
it.
into the season.
Yeah,
so after
Fortnite was
reading
not
the
related
entire
to
rule book and
that
doing my
video at
best
all.
to deduce
So
what actually would happen, I'm going to throw out 2 different theories as to what I think would happen if Peterbot gets banned. The first option, which is the most unfortunate of all of them, is that they wouldn't be allowed to fill Peterbot's spot. And although this sounds a little bit drastic, it is possible because we've seen something like this happen before. Back in 2023, Epic Games held the yearly global event in Copenhagen, Denmark.
I remember when Bucky got banned.
There was a ton of drama behind the scenes, specifically around one duo. Bucky and his duo Okis were able to qualify during Major 3 for the Global Championships in 2023.
Nice.
Nice!
Nice!
Oh my god. I think, okay, Bucky was controversial, but I think Bucky was still like, bro, he's so good.
Oh my god!
Bucky has to be underrated.
God, we qualified!
Underrated IGL, I swear.
God!
In my opinion.
Oh my god, I'm going to Copenhagen!
But unfortunately, once Bucky arrived in Copenhagen, he wasn't there for long. As he talked about in my interview with him, he was randomly disqualified from participating in the tournament, specifically for breaking the Fortnite Code of Conduct rule, no toxic behavior.
Yeah, I was disqualified for you know, making inappropriate comments about Epic employees and women on stream.
This happened just moments before Bucky was supposed
That
to
sucks,
compete,
bro.
and unfortunately,
Who
his
knows
duo
what Bucky
Ocus
could have placed
was
in
left
this,
to
and
go
it would have
out
helped his
completely
career, like,
alone.
stats
Game,
tremendously.
you hear the chants
Which is
of the
insane,
crowd
yeah.
going loud. They're ready to make some noise.
So take it all in. Enjoy the walk down.
I can't watch this, bro. I can't watch this, bro.
Yeah, I remember watching this. I remember watching this Global's Lands.
And
It was
of course,
crazy.
as you can
It was
imagine,
Cooper
Ocus
and
would
Mero
finish
went
dead last
crazy.
because he's playing as a solo against 49 of the best duos in the world. However, if we look back to the situation with Bucky, he got banned right before the tournament happened. However, in this case, we'd know at least a few weeks ahead of time if Peter was going to get banned. So in this case, it means they could probably have a backup player step in.
He
So,
just
as
wouldn't
I
get
said,
banned,
there's
though.
not an exact rule that describes what happens if someone gets disqualified. However, there are backup players in case somebody gets sick. Specifically, Epic will pick players that are from the same region where the tournament is being hosted. In this case, that's EU. The reason that they do this is so that they don't have to pay to fly out players from NA or OCE if there is a situation where they need
I
to use
don't
a backup
know.
player
See,
where
like,
the tournament is taking
my
place
take
in
on
Europe.
it is that,
I'll throw
like,
up the entire list of players here on
why?
the screen,
Like, I
but
wanna
there
know
are a few
what type
players
of
that I
code of
wanna
conduct
highlight
that
as the
Peterbot
top
would,
choices if Cold and Ritual need to pick somebody.
like,
In my personal
violate
opinion, I think Teeny is
from
the
that
best
video
player on this
that had
list
nothing to do with
who
Fortnite,
hasn't
you know?
qualified for globals.
I feel like they would
with Fadil
only
and
ban
Trulex
him
being two of my other favorite players that
because,
I would pick.
like, people
However,
don't
every
like him.
single player
But
on
people
this list
also don't
would
like him
probably do
because
a
he's a
great
trash
job filling
talker
in.
and
That
he
being
backs
said,
it up,
none of
and
them are Peterbot.
he just
As
simply
we all know,
cannot
Peter
be
is the
stopped.
best player in the world, and I'm
See?
interested
Yeah,
to
like-
see what would actually happen if Peterbot did have a Phil come into play with
There's
his
no
trio.
way.
And on top of these players not being as skilled as Peterbot,
People just wanna
it's
see
a
Peterbot
huge
fail.
disadvantage to
So,
play with
and
somebody
I think
you
that's why
don't
that video
know,
got leaked.
because your chemistry
Obviously,
will be
I
way
don't,
thrown
like,
off. That being said,
support
if
what he
Peterbot
said.
is out of
Obviously,
his
it's
trio,
bad that
in
he
my
said it
opinion,
still.
I think it would be safe to
I just-
say that Cold and
I'm not gonna
Ritual
talk
will
about
have
it too
a
much,
slim
like-
to little chance of actually winning. And that means in this
I already said all
hypothetical
my
case,
piece and stuff about
everyone
it,
else
but-
for the first time in the last couple years will
Yeah.
actually have a very good chance at getting first place at Globals. So let's talk about what
Chapter
would
5
actually
was
happen in this scenario. Who are the
so
best
fun.
trios from all the regions across the world? Well, in my opinion, I think the answer is pretty obvious, and it comes down to just 2 or 3 trios that I'll go over right now. I think the first one I have to talk about is Peterbot's X duo, his biggest rival, Pollo.
The difference of 14 points.
This was crazy
Only
too.
14 points was the difference. Congratulations to your Major 1 champions. Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. 14 points.
Dude, Peterbot
separated
played.
that win.
Pollo,
Peterbot
along with
played
his trio of
incredible
Acorn
that
and
Grams.
Agers, are
He was
probably the
insane
best
that
trio
Grams.
outside of Peter and his team. I mean, if we
Dude,
look
the
at this
damage
past grand
numbers,
finals,
the
it's obvious
assists,
that they can at least
the
go
kills,
toe-to-toe
the damage
and keep
ratio.
up with Peterbot's team. And don't just sit
looking
around
at
waiting
Kim's
for
stats,
Peterbot to
bro,
get
it was
banned to see if
insane.
these guys have a chance, because even if Peter and his
Insane.
full trio is playing, I think we're going to have one of the more competitive grand finals that we've had in a few years, specifically because of Pollo and his trio. However, there is another trio that I want to talk about, and they're not from NA Central. See, I do this thing on my channel where I tend to talk about mostly North American players, and honestly, it's because that's where most of my viewers are from. But I wanted to give a huge shout out to probably one of the best trios in the world from EU, Vino, Flixie, and Vico. With EU being probably the most competitive region that we have on Fortnite, they won Major 1, placed 6th in Major 2, and got 2nd in Major 3.
That is
Not to
very
mention
good.
that
That's
all
very
3 of these
consistent.
guys have
Vino,
ample
I also
experience
think Vino's
playing at LAN
underrated.
events.
Him getting
When
shit
they're trying to
talked
play
after
and show up to be
duoing
their
with
best.
Clicks.
So with a ton of FNCS
during
wins
Chapter
under their
5,
belt, I
and-
think this is one of the best teams in the world. and we
He
definitely have to keep our
backed up
eye
how
out
good
for
he
them.
was.
In
for
addition
sure,
to our
saying
European
it,
team,
because
there are also some other teams on
that was
other
some crazy
regions that
placements
have
in
a
Chapter 6
really
from
good
Vino.
chance of getting
Swear.
a win. First, I want to go to Brazil to talk about the trio of King, Phaser, and Fazin.
Yeah,
These
okay.
guys have been
King is crazy.
absolutely dominating this
Hell,
entire
King is
year.
crazy
On the
as hell.
Brazilian region, they won the Major
Sure.
1 Grand Finals and placed 5th during Major 2. And because they did so well, they decided to fly to NA Central to try and qualify for the Grands here in America. Not only did they qualify, but the 3 of them placed 9th on the region.
That was good.
Which is pretty insane considering they've never
King
even
is
played
very
on North
underrated.
America
If you guys-
before. On top of all of
If you guys don't know who King is, he like beat a lot of pros at 1v1s. I think he has like 5, 6 FNCSs in Brazil, known as the best Brazil player of all time. Right here, you'll see the clip. He's playing in World Cup, so he has the longevity NA rule as well, and that's also multi-regional, just like he just did in NA Central, and he's gonna do in globals. Like, he's a GOAT, bro. He's a GOAT for sure.
You guys may remember King from the Fortnite World Cup many years ago, where he won over $1 million at just 13 years.
Like, that's crazy. That kid is still playing. Like, and he's still crazy as heck.
Old. On top of that, he has a following of 1.2 million followers, and this guy actually has a couple of wins under his belt, unlike his NA counterpart, Clicks. And by having some FNCS wins, I mean he has won 6
Oh
times.
my god,
Up
6,
until
okay,
Major 3, that means he would have been tied with Peterbot. Of course, the Brazilian region isn't quite as competitive, but I do think these guys have an incredible chance of winning, especially if Peterbot isn't able to play. And Brazil isn't the only region we need to talk about, because as many of you know, there is one player on the OCE region that definitely has a chance of putting the NA and EU players to shame. And his name is Alex. Many people on my channel love Alex, and this video of him happens to be one of my most popular of all time. Alongside of his trio of Anon and Resigns, Alex has been absolutely dominating the OCE region. Although they would only finish second.
Okay, OC is so Mickey. This guy's FNCS wins should only count as in half or a fucking quarter. Like, that shit is the easiest shit in the world, bro. I see solo cash cups, duo cash cups, zero build cash cups, multi-regional EU and NA pros placing top 5 in these fucking OCE Mickey cups, bro.
Second in Major 1,
Just a hot take by me, though.
Alex would get first place in both Major 2 and Major 3 of OCE Grand Finals. Although he hasn't had the best performances at LAN so far, I think he finally has a trio that has the same level of skills as he does, and he'll be able to put on an absolute show when they get to France.
I don't think
The craziest part out of all of this that many people don't know is that Alex actually has more FNCS wins than any other player in the history of Fortnite. Peterbot only has 6 wins, as does King. However, Alex has 7 different FNCS first place
Again,
titles,
I think it's
not
Mickey.
to mention at
I think
least
it's Mickey.
3 second places.
I think if you put
But
Peter,
getting back
Poyo,
to NA
Cole,
for a second,
Peter,
there's
Richie,
one last
Cole,
team that I want to talk to you guys about, who I
or
think
if
probably have a great
Peter,
chance of
Poyo,
winning with or without
the
Peterbot
OC
in this
region.
competition,
I think that's how
and that is
put
Bolts,
clicks there.
Canada, and Rapid.
I think
These
you
guys
put
have
clicks
been
there, you can
constantly
still win
overshadowed all
in
season
OC
by
FNCS.
Peterbot and Poyo, but
swear.
they've been placing
Feel
insanely
like
well
Alexa.
all season. With a 6th place in Major 1,
Canada is
7th place in
also
Major
underrated.
2,
I think
and then
Canada is
a 3rd
underrated.
place
People be
in
hating on
Major 3.
Canada, but he has
This
longevity.
is definitely a team
Every
we need
grand
to look out
finals
for.
and
Well, I think
globals,
there are a few
disqualified
teams that have done
invitationals, everything.
statistically better than these guys.
Crazy.
We all know that Bolts and
Even
Rapid
online
have really good
tournaments.
chemistry, and Canada is one of the best players in Fortnite history who has the most FNCS grand finals under his
they just
belt.
talked about
So
it.
with all of these things playing for them, I wouldn't be
Told
surprised
ya.
if we hear their name a lot during the Global Championship. So with all that being said, I really
are
hope
pretty
that
great.
Peter doesn't get banned.
But Bolts
because
is back
I
on
wanna
that
see
grind
the
from that
best
crypto
players
money.
play. And
I know,
if we're looking
I'd
at
be
this
on that crypto grind though,
objectively,
too, I'm
I think
not gonna
Peterbot
lie.
made a huge mistake, but it was a couple years ago when he was a kid, and if he has changed like he said he has, then I think he deserves every chance to prove that he's a better person now. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas for which video I
Such
should
bad
do next,
influence at
comment
such a
that
young
down
age,
below. Make
but
sure to like and subscribe.
that was a
and
couple
click
years
right
ago
here if you want to
now,
watch
and-
another one of my videos right now.
It was a couple years ago, and I think he changed for the better. I'm not gonna speak too much on it, but that was an amazing video. That was by Timmy FNBR. I'll put a link to his video down there. Shout out Timmy, an amazing YouTuber. I'm already subscribed to him, as you can see. Guys, that was my first react video for this channel. I'm gonna be trying to upload as consistently as possible, and let me know what videos to watch. Go to my live stream. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know. I'm gonna be branching from Fortnite to not Fortnite. Maybe I can do some react video challenges. I don't know. Reacting to myself when I was a little kid. Maybe when I was playing Fortnite. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, thank you. Socials will be down below. Subscribe, like if you enjoy. Use code FerrisSZN. I'm shop. #ad. And yeah, see you guys in the next video.